Hello. Hello. Can you hear me? Now, I want to send a shout out to Mark Lopes. Hello.
Hello.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the Talking to the Doll Benfica podcast, episode number 201.
Why you say talking to the doll? Why don't you say falar para o boneco?
Para falar para o boneco,
Mais
Talking to the
lindo, pá,
Doll.
mais lindo.
Isto é, rapaz, isto lindo.
Lindo como tu com os óculos e parece o Elvis
Pá,
Presley, real
Mas
quick.
quem joga lindo não ganha campeonatos.
Limpinho e lindinho. Very similar.
Põe o meu som nos meus headphones a little higher, please. I like to...
Agora, falou?
Tá muito alto agora,
Tá muito
cara.
alto. Desculpa.
Aí, galera!
Espera aí, não comece com paralhavice, que a gente temos aqui um big guest hoje em dia.
Yeah, that's right.
E temos que introduzir que como é que é? As espectadoras estão todas assentadas com anxiety.
What's going with? Again, everybody, welcome to our weekly Benfica Talk podcast live on YouTube for everyone to enjoy and listen to on iTunes. With me tonight, as always, Mr. Cristiano Oliveira, the original Cristiano.
The original.
That's
Glad you
right.
got that out the way.
And also with us tonight, a very special guest. You may know him as the man who exposed this cuecas live on YouTube in front of 10,000 people as Red Cuecas. You also may know him as the guy who knows only one club in the whole world, and I think that's probably the way we should all be.
I think he's best known for being the #1 beer salesman in Canada, though.
Watch out.
Mr. Neil Fernandez was with us tonight. What's going on, Neil?
Finally, Uncle Neil has come back to the Benfica podcast. Thanks for having me on, gentlemen.
All right, Neil, thank you for coming by. We'll talk to you next week.
Don't be a hater.
Anyway, on tonight's podcast, we will look back at the Vitória Guimaraes game. We'll also look at the Sporting Braga game for the Taça da Liga that happened this past
Neil, stop
Monday.
moving around, bro.
Yesterday. Yeah, try to sit still. I know you got ADD, but try to stay
Press
still
mute,
for a
bro.
little bit.
Press mute.
And we'll look ahead to this upcoming game this weekend at the Madeira Island against Maritimo. So a very long show, and I don't know how we could actually go on after that 200 show that we had with such illustrious guests as Mr. Steve Santos and Mr. Peggy.
I mean, what a letdown. Look what we came up with the very next week.
Sorry.
Not you, Neil. Not you. I'm talking about us. I was actually speaking with Alfredo, thinking about taking off the next couple of weeks because all we've heard about last week's podcast was how great Steve and Peggy were. It's like you and I weren't even here. So I'm thinking we take off the next couple of weeks. Maybe people will appreciate us then because we get all type of love. It's like Peggy and Steve and Peggy. Oh, the other two schmucks. Yeah, they were there. But Steve and Peggy, thank you for coming on.
But those two are not on every week like you guys, so there's no chance for the fans to miss you guys.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that people should take us for granted.
I'm jealous.
Right?
It's true. You guys do a lot of work.
Anyway, I want to say
we're like Zardel. Nobody appreciates us, bro.
I want to say thank you again for all of you that took the time to send in your recorded messages. We really enjoyed listening to them, and the praise was great on Twitter and everything. So without further ado, let's get this started. Benfica played Vitória de Guimarães this past Friday at Estádio da Luz in a game full of controversy, especially when there's all these talks about the Maleta, the mala with the money. So for you guys who haven't followed this up, apparently there's a briefcase going around with a lot of money for any team that could take points away from Benfica. And that briefcase is being offered by Sporting, from what we understand. Apparently, from what Pedro Guerra said in one of those shows, post-weekend shows, 300,000 euros, 70 was for the staff, the technical staff, for Sergio Conceição and his staff, and the rest was for the players. So he neither denied it nor did he confirm it, but he just said that it was ridiculous. But let's get right into the game here.
Yeah, but didn't Guimaraes, come on, let's give fair due here, right? Didn't Guimaraes just come out today with some type of brunicado or telecomunicado talking about vão processar o Benfica e esse Guerra. Como é que chama o gajo?
Pedro Guerra.
Pedro Guerra, porque não há maneira nenhuma de provar essas coisas. É só bullshit, like we say in the United States of America. It's so bullshit. It's all rumors, man. I mean, is there any way you could prove this? Because
nothing proved. But I mean, we've seen every weekend. It seems that these teams are playing out of their skin. Then we saw the one guy Arnaldo or Arnold, whatever his freaking name was.
I can't.
He missed that goal, and he cried like a baby on the sideline. So apparently, a lot was at stake.
I mean, listen, we can't come here on this podcast and talk about how every single week when
so
these teams play
fun.
Benfica, it's their World Cup final because they know all of Portugal will be watching. And now we criticize these guys for wanting to be paid. I just think it's one of those things, man. You have a chance to knock Benfica off the pedestal, and these teams are gunning for it, man. I think it's a competitiveness in the players, and everyone wants to score in these big games because they know the whole country is watching. Their family are able to watch all around the world because they know these games will be on TV. And I want to give these guys a little bit more credit than just a Maleta. I'm not saying that there isn't, but until it's proven to me otherwise, I mean, I'm not really going to sit here and talk about it. It is what it is, man. I want to see it, and then we'll go from there.
You want to see the Maleta?
Yeah, I want to see it. I want to see $300,000 in cash.
Anyway, I'll give you the lineup real quick. Ederson, André Almeida, Lindelof, Jardel, and Eliseu across the back. Renato and Feza in the middle. Pizzi and Gaetan on the wings. Jonas and Mitroglou were up front. And I got to be honest, Guimaraes, and you got to be – I understand, that this is all rumors and that there's a lot of speculation and whatnot. But you watch how these teams play against Benfica. Guimaraes playing all the men behind the ball, playing very aggressive, doing a lot of anti-jogo in the first half. And it was very hard. But, and to all honesty, Benfica didn't play all that great in the first half, nor did they play great in the second half. But these teams are really motivated to do well against Benfica, regardless of whether they have something to play for or not in the season. But it's very tough. And Sergio Conceição, of course, gets expelled inside 30 minutes, and apparently he called Bruno Paixão a filho da puta. So that got him expelled, and then he just acts like the little saint that he is.
He got a 25-game suspension added to that.
25-day. I'm sorry. 25-day suspension.
Suspended for 25 days, yes.
And, the Guimaraes players with 4 yellow cards inside 30 minutes. And I got to be honest with you, I watched the game, and all 4 yellow cards were deserved. But Benfica struggled. Neil.
I mean, funny enough, right? Whether you believe in these BS things that are going on behind the scenes or not. Funny enough, the one player, not coach, but the one player that got a red card was a Benfiquista.
Sergio Conceição is a Benfiquista?
He's not a player. He's a coach. Pay attention. I said player.
André Almeida.
Oh, André Almeida.
I said not a coach, a player. The one player that got a red card was a Benfiquista.
And did I read this right? Supposedly, that was the first red card a Benfica player suffered throughout the year?
Yeah, I think you might be right. I think that
Portuguese soccer was saying that earlier.
Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah, I don't recall anyone else getting a red card.
It's been a remark.
I mean, let's be honest. Renato should have gotten one against João Mario and Sporting with the very at the end of the game. He got a yellow, which was his 5th yellow of the season, which therefore he served the game suspension for that. But that should have been a red. But the fact that he served the game suspension regardless to me was like whatever. It's at the end of the game, didn't matter. But yeah, I believe that's correct. Neil.
It's been a remarkable season for Benfica.
Oh yeah, very disciplined, very, very.
Not only do we only got one penalty call against us so far all season. First red card of the season. We're also entered the 80-point mark in the points table, obviously for our remarkable campaign so far. So it's been a remarkable season for Benfica. But Neil, did you watch the game? Were you at the Casa do Benfica in Toronto?
I saw it when I got home. I didn't watch it live, but I caught the game. I found that it's like you guys were saying, they didn't really play like a great game. There was too much fancy pants plays going on. Gaetan did this crazy flick of the ball in the air, and I think it was either Jonas or Mitroglou were at the end of it. They couldn't finish. There was a bunch of opportunities throughout the game where they could have scored. But if you look at the stats, they had 11 shots on net, but guess what? None of them hit the net. They were like far wide. The only ball that counted was the set piece from Gaitan at the end of the game.
Yeah, it was.
At the end of the game, it was beginning of the second half.
Sorry, in the 47th minute. You're right.
Neil, you watch the game and you don't know what's going on, man. You're worse than Cristiano. At least Cristiano can admit that he.
I don't
falls
watch
asleep.
it, but I get the timing right.
Cristiano knows the right resumers to watch.
That's it.
Anyway, so a very poor half by Benfica. I think that regardless of Guimaraes playing in their defensive third and playing very compact, we're also missing a lot of pace and creativity, a lot of dynamic in the final third for Benfica to create something. And Cristiano, and I think I've told you this like at least 10 million times, that if Benfica had another 3 games to play, we would have been screwed, because the team right now, I think it looks exhausted, not only mentally, but also physically.
No, they do. They do. And like you said, we've talked about this on and off all the time. But, the fact of the matter is that they're getting the 3 points. It's very ugly. And I don't think this team's played a good game. I don't know how many games now. It's been a while. I mean, I think they shot their load against Bayern Munich with their performances, because ever since then, they haven't been sharp. It could be fatigue. It is what it is. I like to think it's not, because with majority of these guys on this team this year, they've been through these runs. I mean, okay, they might have not gotten as far in Champions League football the last couple of years, but they're always in the Taça runs. They're always in the Taça de Cerveja runs. So I think these guys should be accustomed to playing this type of ball, but I think the pressure right now might be getting a little bit to them. It's not pretty at all. I know a lot of people want to sit here and rave and praise Vitória. I'm not one of those, but the fact of the matter is he's getting the 3 points.
Yeah.
And
He's
luckily they're making these set pieces count.
Yeah. Yeah, we got so Benfica goes into the half before 60,000 plus in attendance, and you gotta admire these people that go to the stadium and keep on motivating the team and pushing the team, and I think that at this point, like and as Cristiano was mentioning, where the fatigue not only mentally but physically is wearing down on you, and also there's that pressure of the margin for error very minimal right now that you have for Sporting, and that any slip up could cost you the championship, and you also know that perhaps regardless of whether you're winning or not, you're not playing the best football of the season. We've seen Benfica play a lot better. We also see that a lot of guys that were playing really good in the middle of the season have dropped down significantly. PT, Gaitan, thank God that Jonah's still putting them in, and he's creating chances. Fesa has been healthy and has put in quite a streak of games together, where he's been really helpful. And to be honest with you, Benfica's defensive unit has perhaps been the most solid thing that we could take from these games. Jardel, Lindelof. I mean, who would have thought Lindelof? Lindelof is perhaps right now a staple in our defense.
Right now, Lindelof is one of those not even thought about, just starting 11. He's there every single week as long as he's healthy. And a couple months ago, we weren't saying that about him, but he's been spectacular. Popsicle's been really good defensively. Jardel, he had a mess up the other day that could have really cost us.
Yeah.
Andre Almeida luckily got back.
Yeah.
Gave the dude a perfect assist and then got back in perfect position to knock it away again. But yeah, like you guys have mentioned throughout the whole year, Vitória always wants 4 guys behind the ball.
Yeah.
I know some of you guys are conversing today on Twitter about they not playing Popsicle because they like Grimaldo's attacking ability and they want to add more to that. But I don't think it's anything to do with Eliseu. I just think that it's Rui Vitória that demands that these guys don't waste their energy and time going forward, because he feels that we have enough adequate players to go up top and create chances and score. And listen, I can't really criticize them for that. I mean, it's been working, whether ugly or not, but they're finding the results. And but again, just want to emphasize that Andre Almeida, Semedo, or Popsicle going up the wings, that's a tactical decision. I don't think that has anything to do with them.
Yeah, I think if there's one thing that we could take out of Rui Vitória's coaching, has been the defensive organization, which he seems to have that down. But we go into the half, as I've said, with the tough game, tough half. We come out and right 2 minutes into the second half, Jardel connects on a header and puts Benfica ahead, and that was most likely a big relief on this team because they knew they weren't playing well. They knew they had to come out strong, and we get the goal that early in the half, so the nerves calm down a little bit. Then all of a sudden we see Guimaraes come and try to play. Now that they're no longer, now they got to fight for the Maleta. They got to come out and play. Neil, what was your opinion of the game? I mean, we're not playing that well, but we managed to win. What do you think at this point? You think that a lot has to do with the fans, the way the fans have been carrying the team?
I think the fans absolutely are behind this team 100%, and they're there like week in, week out, like you said, and regardless of the quality of style or the way this team's been playing, they're behind this team 100% because we want to win the three and the 35. But back to Cristiano's point about Benfica's performance since Bayern Munich, I totally agree with you. Like, I'm looking at these results and it's 2-1, 1-0, 2-1, 1-0. The last time they actually had a really good game was before the Bayern Munich match when they beat Braga 5-1. So it could be fatigue, it could be a lot of things. But yeah, I hope they, 2 more finals left. Let's see what happens.
It's been ugly, but I do think Benfica are doing. I actually having conversations with people through text messages and direct messages and everything else. I actually think that Benfica are doing. I think they're going to go to Maritimo and walk away with a 3-0 victory. Even though they haven't played well, I just think that they're due. I think they're due. Sooner or later, it's going to start to click. They do create very few chances, but right now, I guess it has to do with fatigue. I don't know what it is, but they're missing the very few chances that they have. And I don't know. I just have this feeling inside me right now that they're going to go over there. And I know we'll get to that game a little bit later, but I feel that Benfica are due for a nice 3-0 victory sooner or later.
Yeah, and Cristiano, just something to illustrate my point about the anti-jogo in the first half. The ref gave a total of 5 minutes extra added time at the end of the first half. So if that's not an indication how the first half went, as far as games, the game being stopped and players being injured, the one Peruvian guy got hurt, by accident by Eliseo in the forehead. He showed the referee the bump in his forehead. Then he laid back down on the ground again. It was a complete circus.
I mean, guys, let's be fair. Again, I know we keep going back to this Maleta, this mala de dinheiro, isto e aquilo, but we've complained about this all year long. I mean, go back to the podcast where I did stealing Wi-Fi in Portugal. Where Benfica lost 1-0 to Aroca, where Brazagli, I forget his name. Bracali. Yeah, the game of his life. And every single time the guy touched the ball, he literally wasted 15 to 20 seconds.
Trigueira.
Patrick and I were in the stands in Aveiro, and we just sat there shaking our heads. Every single chance that Aroca had to waste time, they did. So, I mean, I don't think this is something that starts now. That just started now. Every single week, week in, week out, everyone Benfica plays, they waste time. It is what it is. Let's be fair. Benfica waste time also when they got the lead on their side. So, yeah. I mean, unfortunately, it's one of those ugly things that's just a part of football. And I don't think you're going to be able to get rid of it because you can add all the time you want at the end of the game, but the guys are still going to waste time. It'll kill off when teams have momentum going on their side. It's just the ugly tactic that teams will use, and unfortunately, I don't think anything can be done about it.
So do you guys think the referees are also in on this? Like, they're biased against Benfica? Like, they purposely waste minutes for the opposition?
Neil, off where did you get that off based on anything I said there?
No, because you're talking. No, hold on. You're talking about teams wasting time and crying to the refs and whatever. I'm just wondering.
I said there's unfortunately there's no way to really change it.
Yeah, I don't think that the referees. The referee, how can the referees be in it?
Like Alfredo said, the referees, the fourth official at least, gave an additional 5 minutes in the first half because obviously he thought there was plenty of time wasting. So if the referees were in on it, Neil, they would call it off in the 45th minute and not give any extra time. So, I mean, the fact that they're giving extra time is because they themselves are seeing that there is a problem.
Time wasting.
Absolutely saying. So very valuable points by Benfica 3-0, especially playing ahead of the big match that was played on Saturday, where the green team went up and played the blue team, and we really can't count on the blue team for nothing this year. So Sporting ended up winning that game, and the hunt and the chase for the title continues.
You got to tip your cap to them. I mean,
They played well.
They're having a spectacular season. Okay, this is the most points they've ever had in the history of their club. They've also won. Benfica's won 10 games in a row. They've won 7. So they've also not let up. You got to give them credit. You know, they went into a very tough environment that are going. Whether you think they're going to help them out or didn't help them out, the fact of the matter is this is a team that beat Benfica twice this year. A team that we thought were absolutely dead and came into Estádio da Luz and beat us at the Estádio da Luz. And they had their controversy because to me, I didn't see multiple replays. I saw one. I was watching the game and I wasn't paying much attention because I was busy doing something else. But the first penalty for Porto, to me, that wasn't a penalty. To me, I thought it was a little bit soft. Whereas in the second half, I thought Coates pushed off on Abubakar. I thought that should have been a deserved penalty. But nonetheless, they went to a very tough place. They played their game. They walked away with a 3-1 victory. You know, Casillas, you want to say someone helped them out. It was Casillas with, his 10th Pitu of the season. It seems like week in, week out now the guy's giving up Pitus. So, I mean, let's not sit here and make it, that these guys are getting helped out. They have played spectacular football, man. I mean, say what you want. They're playing well. And tip my cap. Jesus, week in, week out is going to have this team playing attacking football. They're not going to sit back on anybody regardless of who they're playing. And they're playing well, and it's up to Benfica to win their 2 remaining games, and nobody gives a shit about what Sporting does. As long as Benfica takes care of their own business, Sporting can win the next 2 games by a combined score of 45-0, and Benfica will still be champions.
I think that Casillas was determined to come to Portugal and to take the king, o rei do frango, away from Patricio.
It looks that way. I mean, because that was ugly. Well, I mean, come on, dude. We're talking about a goalkeeper of his caliber, his history, his track record. You give that up, that was embarrassing, and I think he's embarrassed by that.
Get a hold of yourself.
It is what it is, man. I mean,
holy, the only good game he's had was against Benfica at Estádio da Luz.
Oh, he saved them. He kept them guys in the game.
God damn. So anyway, important 3 points for Benfica. Benfica continues on, and now they will play with Maritimo, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But before we get into that, I wanted to talk about the League Cup semifinal game that's been meant to be played for the longest time against Braga, and the teams finally played this past Monday at Estádio da Luz. I'll give you the lineup real quick. Rui Vitória made quite a few changes, obviously playing Friday and then playing Monday again. Needed to give some of the main guys some rest. Ederson was in goal. Silvio, Luizão, the return of Luizão, Lindelof and Grimaldo across the back, Samaris and Renato, Salvio and Carcel on the wings, and Talisca jogar, and Jimenez up front. Neil, happy to see Luizão back?
Oh, totally. Like, he hasn't played at all this year, has he?
We played very little, I think.
Very little. Yeah, it was great, and the post in Ebola about how Lindelof was so excited to play alongside such a legend like Luizão. Yeah, it was an interesting lineup. I mean, a lot of these players haven't really played much together this season. Carcela started. I'm not the biggest fan of Carcela, but he played a great game. I thought the Talisca Raul combo was different, but they gave it a chance. In terms of rhythm of the game, yeah, same sort of thing. I thought for sure Benfica was going to lose that game. They didn't look like they wanted it. They didn't play strong enough the first half, and lo and behold, the game changed.
But the one thing that you have to realize when you make that many changes to the lineup, and when you mess with the chemistry and with the rhythm of the guys that have been playing week in, week out, there's obviously going to be some drop offs. I mean, obviously there's guys that are still in somewhat form. And they play, but the rhythm is not there. Silvio, I had forgotten that Silvio was even on the team. I hadn't seen Silvio for such a long time. I was happy to see Grimaldo getting playing time. From what I understand, and I didn't watch the game, he played very well up and down the wing. Cristiano.
Let's keep this in mind, though, because you're talking about players and rhythm playing together. Patrick actually tweeted this, or someone tweeted this at Patrick, and I actually went back right now to get it so I could use it here. But Benfica had to start 5 players who have played in the previous 2 matches plus 2 homegrown players. So that's why not only was he probably resting players for the important matches coming up, the final 2 regular season games, but also yet he had to live by these rules and he had to set a team according to these rules.
There's a certain
yes.
Well, no, wait a second.
Lindelof and Sanchez are homegrown.
No, that's right. You got to have homegrown.
Well, you got
I thought you were talking
Ederson probably. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, but you have to have 5 guys who played in the previous 2 games and 2 homegrown players.
Right.
So
I thought you were talking about the hours in between the games, but I don't think so.
No. Talking about setting a lineup for the Taça da Cerveja.
There's a certain homegrown requirements that's required for these games as well as the Portuguese Cup. That the Portuguese league requires teams to field certain players that are homegrown and so on and so forth.
Yes. So before we go off and give Rui Vitória credit for changing the whole lineup,
I'm not giving him credit for changing the lineup, but you can't line up the same freaking guys that just played on Friday, especially after a long season like this.
Yeah.
You know, you got to give some guys a chance. I think Grimaldo's been a good student, and he definitely deserved it. I think that Luizão, he was ready to go. Why not bring the captain back?
5 months later.
Yeah.
5 months later, yeah.
Silvio also, but from what I understand and from what I know, Nelson Smith played with the B and helped the B actually score a goal.
I was upset with 2 things.
Against was it against Guimaraes or was it against Braga that they played?
I was upset with 2 things.
Go ahead. What were you upset about?
One, I thought Smith. But now I stand corrected because if he did play with the B team,
with the B team.
Okay, but I would have liked to see Smith instead of Silvio. Numero uno. Numero dos. Why call up my man Tarap and then not even have him on the roster?
I know. I was sad about that.
You're teasing me, bro. You're teasing me. You're gonna call this guy up, make him part of the 21. All this fanfare, and then the dude's not even on the bench. You don't even call him up to the game. Come on, you're just teasing, man.
I heard they were gonna put him on the bench, but they didn't have a shirt that fit him.
The season's gonna end, and that poor guy hasn't even played.
He's gotta get some minutes, or else he won't be champion
on the main squad.
And you know what's gonna happen, right? You know what's gonna happen.
No bonus.
I'm going to Portugal, and the first question I'm gonna ask Rui Vitória next year's press conference is, "Topa, no jogo tarap." That's it. I'm gonna start up some ruckus again. I don't care.
Yeah, but Rui Vitória called up 20 guys, and only 18 get the dress.
It was 21 because he sat 3.
Yes.
Smedu, Tarapt, and
right.
Paulo. No, not Paulo. Smedu, Tarapt, and I don't know.
Jackie Manel.
It was 3 guys.
So anyway, Braga played Braga is a good team. I mean, they've proven all year that they have a good team. A great goal by Rafa, and
that kid.
I don't know why somebody hasn't snatched this kid yet.
I don't know why Benfica don't snatch him.
Well, apparently Braga is asking for too much money. Even like Porto asked.
They want 20. They want 20 because Porto offered 16. They want 20. Supposedly release cost 20. But Benfica could sell Salvio and Gaitan together. Go buy him, replace him, put Carrillo on the other side, and there you go.
He's going to Leicester.
Who's going to Leicester?
I don't know. Whoever wants to go.
Send Gaitan over there. Send Gaitan and Salvio.
Send that up to Leicester.
Nah, Tarapto, guys, he's a legend in England.
So anyway, Benfica down 1-0 at the half. Rui Vitória makes some changes, brings in Jonas, takes out Renato. Obviously, Renato and Lindelof, along with Ederson, were the only starters that played on Monday. Of course, Renato is 18 years old, and at 18, you could play forever.
That substitution, sorry guys, I was a little bit upset about because what's his name? Nuno Matos, the guy on the commentator, was saying how Manchester United and all these English teams were at the luge scouting Renato Sanchez.
A League Cup game? Come on,
who cares about that?
And they subbed him off at the half. They took out a midfielder for a second striker. It worked. If it didn't work, then the excuse would be, oh, they took out the midfield and they put all these strikers, and that's why Benfica didn't score. But it worked.
But
definitely worked.
You're really upset because Manchester United.
It's a done deal.
Hold on, wait. Let me get this straight. You were upset.
No, I was upset he was subbed off at the half.
You're upset because Manchester United didn't get a chance to see him play. I could give a shit about what Manchester United does.
No, but
what I'm worried about,
he should have played fresh more than one half.
I'm worried about keeping him fresh for the next 2 games.
Yeah,
That to
that's
me
important.
should be number one concern for Rui Vitoria, Renato Sanchez, his mother, his grandmother, the training staff, all the Benfiquistas around the world. I could give a crap what Manchester United is there to do. That to me, I have no concern over what the hell they want to do.
Chris, if you're down a goal, you're gonna pull a midfielder for another striker. The goals.
No, you're right. You pull a midfielder for a center back. Yeah, for a center back. You're right.
What he did there is he pulled Renato, he dropped down to Lishka, and he put Jonas up front.
What's wrong with that?
Anyway,
well, Neil, you're down.
It worked. I'm happy it worked.
But that's Neil. Like soccer-wise, right? You're down a goal. You take out defensive players to put in attacking-minded players.
Yeah,
that's what he did.
Well, at this point, I think that Manchester United's got more film on Renato Sanchez than the past 5 seasons of Game of Thrones.
That's true.
I mean, for me, it's a done deal. He's gone.
I hope he goes.
He's gone.
I hope he goes for 60 mil plus 20. But they say, you know what? Gosh, está muito verde. Stash him at Benfica for another season. Because let's be honest, Herrera, Schneiderlin, they got a bunch of guys for that position. I mean, unless they sell these
Send
guys.
Send Herrera to Benfica.
Herrera won't come to Benfica. He's got too much of a market, man. He won't want to come to Portugal. He can stay in England and any other club in England and play.
Anyway.
Yeah. Anyway.
So Benfica.
Pat Southampton will take him.
Jonas came in for Renato, and right away we noticed the difference.
Cool.
And we got. I didn't even record. What time do we score the goal, Neil? Do you have that in front of you?
No.
Yeah, so we scored the goal in the second half.
Way to blow your one chance on Benfica podcast, Neil.
57th minute.
I thought you were doing
59th minute.
59th
Jonas scored in the 59th minute, yes.
Right, so Jonas scored the 59th minute. Then, Gedge came in for Salvio in the 57th, and so on and so forth. And then we got that giveaway by Braga where Jimenez, who had who was there from the start, took advantage, and our amulet boy again 2-1, and Benfica saw the game out 2-1. And they will now play Maritimo, coincidentally, the same team that they will be playing this week. They will play Maritimo, I forget, is it the 20th of May?
So Friday, May 20th.
So, yeah, the 20th of May.
May 20th in Municipal de Coimbra.
And Municipal de Coimbra, which is
2:45 our time.
Which is usually when the League Cup final is held. That is at Municipal de Coimbra. And to be very honest with you, Chris, I know that a trophy is a trophy, but I think that if Benfica at this point had dropped that game to Braga, I don't think it would have meant much.
I don't think it would have mattered, but you know what? I'll tell you this. If Benfica are able to hold on to the lead in the Primeira League and they're able to win this game, win the title, win the next 2 games, or tie, whatever, find a way to win and Sporting drop point, but find a way to win, I think it'll be a perfect icing on a cake. Because to me, and I think 99% of the other Benfica fans, to them, it's more important what they do in the Liga than what they do in the Taça da Liga. But, it'll be a nice little gift, I think. You get to, possibly you get Luizão's last game in a Benfica uniform.
Don't say that.
No, he's coming back next year.
Okay, that's you guys. I say otherwise. I think it'll be possibly his last game, and it'll be a nice way to send him out.
Yeah.
And Tarap might get some minutes.
There you go.
Let's hope.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna pause here for.
And Neil, press mute, Neil, throughout this whole process.
Yeah, we're gonna pause here for Nelson's halftime headlines. So just enjoy them. We'll be back in a little bit.
And now, the halftime headlines.
And this week we kick off by looking at our Mexican ace, Raul Jimenez. After arriving in the summer from Atletico Madrid, he's made the most appearances off the bench of any other Benfiquista this season. 42 total appearances, and he's a player that makes an immediate impact. With 11 goals this season, he's netted 1,100% more goals than he has last year in the Spanish capital. Our Brazilian center back, Jardel, looks to become a Portuguese citizen with the hopes of one day playing for the Seleção. Both Jonas and Ederson have made the final 40 for Brazil that will be looked upon for Copa America. And finally, with 3 games left in the season, Benfica can clinch both the Taça and the three-peat of the title. Let's not forget, nothing is yet won. We hold our own fate. And só faltam três finais.
And that's all for this week.
Benfica.
Extremely excited we didn't have no modalidades updates. and Nelson, I love you, but Jardel's not looking to become a citizen. He is already a citizen. Well, the conversation now moves to whether he'll get a call up to the Portuguese national team or not, and that's a conversation for another pod.
Yep.
That's right. So anyway, now we turn our attention to this upcoming.
Now you got me on the Adoro Benfica.
It's nice. It's nice. It's catchy.
I love that.
It's catchy. We're going to turn our attention now to this upcoming game. This upcoming weekend's game, where Benfica goes up to Madeira.
E tu vais fazer o show com os óculos the entire time?
To the barrios.
Tô com umas olheiras do caralho, pá.
Cuidado com a língua, man. Para vocês.
Tired, bro.
Temos putos a olhar isto, mas temos putos a ver esta merda.
Nah, I'm going for a different look today. Superstar. Anyway, Benfica will travel to Madeira this coming Sunday, 3:30 local, to play Maritimo, who's currently in 12th place. Nothing really to play for. 12th place, 10 wins, 5 ties, and 17 losses is their overall record. At home, 7 wins, 2 ties, 7 losses. Last 5 that Benfica played at Estádio dos Barreiros, 4 wins for Benfica, 1 loss back in 2013, I want to say. First round that Benfica played Maritimo at Estádio da Luz, 6-0 convincing win for Benfica, 2 goals from Pizzi, back when Pizzi was actually playing. And 2 goals for Jonas, 1 goal for Jimenez, and 1 goal for Talisca Joga. So, Chris, what do you think, man? Another tough game?
Nah, I've always been very scared of these games, and in particular when Benfica goes out to Madeira. I think these games more often than not are very tough games. But I don't know, man. I usually have these feelings where it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. For some reason now,
confident.
Yeah, I'm very confident. I think Benfica will figure out a way to walk away with a nice 3-0 victory. I think they're going to go opposite what everyone else is picking this week. I think they're going to put up a very good performance. They're going to find a way to get the monkey off their back and get the 3 points, because I think Sporting will win their game on Saturday.
Yeah.
So the pressure will be solely on Benfica come Sunday. I think they're going to find a way to win this game pretty easy, because I don't rate Maritimo that much, man. I think if Benfica come out and they play their best game, I think they'll walk away with this game in their sleep. So I think go back to side to lose next week against Nacional, wrap it up. I think if they play to the level that they're capable of, that we expect them to play, I think Benfica will be just fine.
I think right now you could see the finish line. I think that you have to go for it. I think that to be quite honest with you, Chris, the fact that the team beat Braga on Monday, and regardless of whether it was different guys playing, I think it was a morale injection almost to this team. I think, and I kind of feel that they kind of like got past that one, and now they got 2 more games. All they have to do is get past this Maritimo game, and then they got a game at home where they can be themselves to beat Nacional.
What I noticed? I think Benfica played free on Monday, because, like you've mentioned, if they lost that game, it really didn't matter. And I think they played with that attitude, like, we're free. You've seen guys like Neil mentioned. You saw Gaetan doing the lob pass. You see him do a lot more trickery with the ball, a lot more fintas and stuff than you've seen him in previous 3 or 4 games. And so I think they played kind of like, hey, if we lose, we lose. I think they were loose. And I think that will lead into this game against Maritimo. I think Benfica will come out with the very same attitude. I think the majority of the starters will be right back in play. And again, if they play like they're capable of playing, Maritimo does not belong in the same field.
Yeah. Neil, what's your feeling on that game?
I'm confident we could get the win. I'm not sure if it'll be 3-0, but 3-0 would be good. I find at the end of every match, Vitória says the same thing. It was a justified win. We worked hard. The better team won. The opponent was very difficult, but it was a justified win. And I feel he's going to say the same thing at the end of this game. Hopefully Benfica fields their best 11. They're gonna treat it like a final, just like they keep advertising and campaigning. And but how would it be if Sporting ties Stubble and we win in Madeira? That would be pretty cool.
Believe it or not, Stubble has a lot to play for.
This podcast got
There you
nothing to
go.
do with sport. This podcast is about Benfica, and I don't care.
Yeah, I want
what's-
them to win. I
I
want to
don't
celebrate
care.
a week earlier.
I don't care what Sporting does. And to be honest, I want Sporting to win out.
Yeah, we all.
It'll taste a lot sweeter.
We know what Chris's feelings are on that.
It'll
He
taste a
wants-
lot sweeter. I don't want Sporting to drop points.
Yeah,
I mean, it really, guys, think about it. It'll really, you want to hit them where it hurts.
Right till the last game.
And forget the last game. You want to hit them where it hurts. This team is going to well, they've already set a record for most points. This team had everything go perfect with the exception of a little hiccup in the middle of the season. This team beat Benfica and Porto. They've never in their history, guys, pay attention. They've never in their history have beaten Benfica or Porto at their home in the same season. In their history. And now they had that happen. This team had everything go right for them. And yet, after all the BS, they still finished second. That will be. I don't want them to say, you know what, we handed it to you because we dropped these points at the end and you didn't have pressure. No. I want to just stab you and twist that mother and keep it moving. That's what I want, man. I want them to feel it where it really hurts. I want Bruno Carvalho to just shut the hell up after this. Hang his head and go in his room, look at himself in the mirror, and say, "Man, we did everything."
For the past
And we still
14
can't
for
get
the past 14 years, Sporting's championship was beating Benfica.
Yeah.
And now that they finally beat them, not winning the title, that's gotta be sucky.
Think about it. Stole your coach. So much fanfare. They spanked our team in the preseason, Supertaça, whatever. Cando Oliveira spanked us. Comes to Estádio da Luz, spanks us 3-0. To me, that was probably the most dominating game anyone played against Benfica this season. That includes Atletico Madrid and Bayern Munich. Benfica were absolutely manhandled. Spanked us. All right?
Yeah.
Spanked us. And yet, they win 9 games in a row to close out the season and still don't walk away with the title. I mean, how beautiful will that be, man? How beautiful would that taste, guys? Think about it.
Yeah, that was, I'm with you on that. I'm with you. I think after everything that they've done to be contenders this year, and they certainly have. Let's not take that away from them. And as Cristiano said, always said this from the beginning, and even after we found out that JJ was going to them, right off the bat, Cristiano said
they're going to be contenders.
They're going to be contenders
Right
because he's going to turn around the ties that Benfica that they had gotten. They're going to turn that into wins, and they're going to be right up there.
And that's exactly what
right
they did.
up there. And Cristiano was spot on with his prediction. And look, there they are. But unfortunately, for them, they lost against the little teams while we did well. So that's why we're in first, and they're frustrated, and they're doing everything that they can to rattle the cage and rock the boat. In the media, every single day, you see a Sporting guy coming in and talking shit. Every single day, rocking the cage, rocking the boat, rattling the cage. Every single day. So we just got to win at Maritimo. Also, something that I want to talk about, and obviously, there's a lot of guys and a lot of people that are fans of this conspiracy theories. They take it as you want. But Nel Vingada, which is Maritimo's coach, he rested 5 of his starters against Estoril this past weekend. And actually,
maybe you guys are Sportingista deep down inside.
Yeah, and actually, this was a game where if Maritimo had won against Estoril, they could have been basically the best team in the Madeira Island. Of course, the Madeira Island has 3 teams in the first division, and Maritimo could have finished ahead of Nacional. And like this, it doesn't look like they're going to finish ahead of Nacional. I think
They're
I'm
only
right
2
when I say
points
that.
back. They're only 2 points back, and
Right.
we hope Nacional lose the last game of the year. And if they win the last game of the year, it's all about the result this weekend, if Nacional win or not. That'll
Right.
be.
So take it as you will. He rested 5 players ahead. Obviously, there's no rule that says that you have to play your strongest players all the time. God knows that he had a reason. He must have had some kind of a reason. I don't know. Maybe the guys, had some kind of tenho caganeira, uma coisa assim qualquer.
Hey, man, maybe it was an important game. And I hate when people start with this. What if you wanted to give some kids a look? Because he has to start planning for next season because, like you said, he's safe in the campeonato. He's not going anywhere. He wants to give some of these kids a look, just like if he wanted to give those kids a look this week.
Eu acho que tinham diarreia.
Deixa eu falar contigo. Just like if you wanted to give these kids a look this week in the pressure cook situation against Benfica in a big game, all the other Sportingistas would be crying about it. But he's within his right. He might want to,
he's totally within his right.
He might want to see these kids and see what they could do for next season. And maybe due to the fact that they're inexperienced, he's not going to put them out there in a game like this against Benfica.
There's no rule. There's no rule
None.
against it.
None.
But there is a rule about the Maleta. You can't coerce. You can't coerce another team to play harder in order to damage another team's their opposers' chances of winning. That's a rule on the FPF rule book and also on the league rule book. I read earlier that there wasn't such a rule, that it would only be against the law or the rules if you were paying a team to purposely lose. But it goes both ways. It's also a rule in Spain, from what I understand.
That makes no sense.
What against the rules that you can't give money to another team to motivate them?
You shouldn't. Yeah, shouldn't be able to give it to motivate them, because in retrospect, you could turn around and pay these teams to lose. Okay, and then gambling comes involved, and it opens so much
conflict of interest.
Why?
And then you're Italy of 10 years ago.
Yeah, why even allow that? Just cut it off. You can't pay people to lose, so they can't pay people to win. It is what it is. Look, a president of their own club wants to give a team a bonus because they're playing their arch rival, and if they jump up, they finish in European Cup. That's within their right. They're right, but not outside influences.
From what I understand, it's a rule that you can't give. It is a rule in Portugal also, and I had heard earlier that there was no rule against it. But anyway, it's going to be a very tough game for Benfica.
Look, someone mentioned that I got to give Sérgio Jafos some credit.
Dá.
Okay.
Vem as t-shirts, ouvi dizer.
Yeah. By the way, anyone else listening to the Benfica podcast, you want to give us anything to promote? We'll rock it. Send it to us. We'll rock it out. And you know what? Just because it's for
anything but red cuecas.
No, anything.
They were Speedos.
Okay. Speedos too. Send them over. We'll get Neil to come over from Canada and sport these things for you. But I want to send just because Benfica fans are free. Anything else? I'm charging. But going back to Sergio, I forget what the hell he said now because you got me talking about cuecas. What the hell did he say, man?
Sergio, you were going to give us some props to Sergio.
Sergio made a great point earlier today. I was on Twitter talking with someone regarding this damn Maleta, right? You got João Carvalho and you got Victor Andrade that play for Guimaraes.
Yeah.
So when these guys come in the locker room with these Maletas, what do they do with Andrade? They hit them in a closet?
They don't come to the locker room with the Maletas.
So how do the players find out about this money?
They find out from the coach.
And what the coach didn't tell. So the coach brings guys in his office one-on-one?
He couldn't play.
But still, they're going to be.
They weren't in the locker room against Benfica. They can't play against Benfica.
Okay. All right.
But can't an investigation be done and be like, okay, Sporting, you're bribing teams. You're going to get a fine. Next season, you start the league minus 20 points down. Because it makes our league look like a joke.
Now, please, come on.
I agree with you.
We had all these wiretaps about Pinto da Costa bribing officials, and nothing ever came of that. You think something's going to come of this? Come on, you got to be freaking kidding me.
You ever eat a piece of fresh fruit, bro? Come on, bro.
It's delicious.
Essential. It's essential. You know what I mean? It's essential till you die.
Fruit e café com leite.
Café con leite. He was doing good. He was doing good for people, man.
He was doing good. He was doing very viagens brasileiras. He was doing good. But anyway, like I was saying, very important game for Benfica. I think that Benfica has always a very good following at the Madeira Island. I think that Madeira Island is majorly Benfiquista, and I think you will see a very good scene when Benfica arrives at the airport, when Benfica arrives at the stadium,
if they're able to land.
I think that let's hope that the fog could stay away, but I think at the Barreiros, the stadium is located at a place where the fog stays
the wind,
away.
It's not just the fog, the wind also.
Yeah, the wind. So a very important game for Benfica that we have to win. Absolutely have to win. We have to win outright, regardless of what Sporting does. I think that there's also some kind of a record at stake. That if we win for the rest of the two games, there's some kind of a record.
You set
that
a league
breaking
for most points in He set a record for most points in the Portuguese league since they converted to 3 points per game.
Yeah, well,
It'll be a record for most points.
Yeah, you also have a bigger league too. More teams.
Whatever, you set a record.
Still a record. A record is a record. And Benfica has to win. It's going to be a tough game. We'll see how Maritimo plays. But yeah, if you're watching that game, just keep an eye out for these little things. Is Maritimo playing rough? Is Maritimo doing anti-jogo? Is Maritimo playing with 12 guys behind the ball? I don't know. These are the things that you can now watch for. That you can now
watch for a
speculate.
Watch for a guy running down the wing with a maleta on his back. You guys.
Yeah. Well, so and apparently the maleta just keeps the amount inside just keeps getting bigger and bigger from week to week. It just accumulates. It's like the Powerball. If you don't get it, then next week will be more. Anyway. Twitter question here. We don't have many Twitter questions today, and everybody's happy with what's going on. From Francisco Marcelino, looking forward to next season. What would you say are the key positions in which we need signings? Cristiano, you want to take that one?
No, I'll talk about that next season. I'm preoccupied with the last 2 games.
It's a little early, Francisco.
I mean, look. Let's see.
I think it all depends on who leaves.
Left back. If Grimaldo's there, and we like what we've seen from Grimaldo, that's a position that was in question before.
The right wing position.
Yeah, the outside.
Salvio, Carcella, and
the right wing, dude. Come on, you got Carrillo.
Carrillo.
I forgot that. But we haven't seen him play in a Benfica jersey yet.
Elder Acosta's coming back too.
We need another 8. Another guy that can play in the middle, especially if Renato leaves.
Absolutely. Renato's definitely leaving.
Is Gaetan going to leave? Is Mitroglou going to come back? I mean, these are questions that need to be answered first before we just start throwing names out there.
There's a lot of questions. I think that key positions for guys that leave, and then just add depth to the squad, because the team really looks very exhausted at this point. And I know that there's been some rotation, but perhaps not the ideal rotation by Rui Vitória that we would have expected.
Do you think it's lack of depth? Like, that we just don't have enough guys to fill in those games?
I don't think it's lack of depth, because if you think about it, we lost Luizão, we lost Lisandro, Lindelof was there, so that depth was there. I think, face it, you can't go a whole season.
I think I know what Neil means by lack of depth, though. He's talking about you're not able to rotate many of these guys. That's what the guys that you could count. Benfica's got a base 11, a couple of the guys. Because I mean, really, who's the depth? Like what? Jimenez? Okay, fine. You want to count on him? The guy does great coming off the bench. I'm not sure he does great in 490. Carcella,
I don't know.
Does good off the bench.
Good off the bench. I haven't seen anything. Okay, who the guys? Samaris?
Would you go for an upgrade? Would you go for an upgrade on Mitroglou?
No, I would sign him.
If I get an upgrade, yeah, absolutely.
No, yeah. I mean, let's say we sign Mitroglou. Would you try to sign somebody better than him?
If we bring Mitroglou back, you saying?
Are you content with Jonas and Mitroglou? If you bring Mitroglou back?
If we bring him back, I'd be content. But I don't know. I know some people are gonna hate me, but if I could upgrade the dude coming off the bench, I give me a young. Well, you got Jovic. I mean, if I could develop these guys at the same time, Jovic and the other kid Spajonic that's talking about leaving. If I get these guys involved in the 18 where they're progressing, I'd be okay with it. I don't want these. Again, I want a young player. If Jovic develops, I'll be happy with those 3 guys back with Jimenez, Jonas, obviously, and Mitroglou. I'll be excited, but I want to see some of these other young kids play. Yeah,
our homeboy from the Three Tugas podcast is participating. Pedro Aresta, shout out to Pedro Aresta, and he's saying we have the Argentine player from Boca already signed to take over the Renato Sanchez spot.
The kid
Servi. I thought Servi was more of a winger. No,
by the way, Serbi's not from Boca Juniors. That's
from
Boca.
Maybe he's talking about somebody else.
And the kid from Boca Juniors, that kid is supposed to be real special. You've had Juventus, Real Madrid. You've had a lot of the big sharks surrounding him. From what I've heard, he's not signed. I haven't heard anything linking him to being signed to Benfica. I know that Benfica obviously have showed interest, but the kid that's been signed is Servi.
He's more of a winger.
He's more of a winger, and he's like a 10 winger, and he's not a and he doesn't play for Boca Juniors, so I don't think that's the kid we're talking about.
And there was also talk of Ricardo Horta, from Stubble, who
Yeah.
plays at an 8 position, if I'm not mistaken.
400,000.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
I mean-
apparently Benfica has locked up that kid.
I sign him and I go get his brother at Malaga.
Yeah, I mean,
I go get his
obviously,
brother at Malaga.
you know, kids like Renato Sanchez and players like Renato Sanchez are once in a lifetime.
What are you talking about? Vitoria develops these guys. Let's see what he does next year.
You know what? I really wish. I wish we still had Bernardo Silva on the team.
We're going back to that.
No, I think that that is all I got. Thank you.
Now your boy Hugo Stopado asked some questions.
What did Hugo Stopado say?
I don't know. It's on your account, dude.
Let's see what Hugo Stopado's got to say for himself. Hugo Stopado was saying something about the podcast, I think. And he thought of having a Benfica podcast party for Portugal Day in New Jersey to get all available followers together.
I would love that, number one. And number two, he asked another one about Luizão. Should you name him B team coach next year?
Yeah.
I would say no.
I don't think that Luizão's got the coaching experience.
Right, exactly.
Bring one of the guys that's in tune with what goes on at the
I wouldn't
Seychelles.
mind making him part of the
The technical staff.
technical staff. Get the guy some experience.
Yeah. He's got to go take the coaching license.
Yeah.
Ay, garoto. Ahí soy. Tengo que tirar la licencia de entrenador.
Yeah, I would like to. I mean, personally, I think he might leave somewhere else to the Middle East and go get himself a big payday.
I don't know.
I'm gonna go to the Middle East for what? Passar fome? Get
You
it
don't,
out.
you don't need. Luizão doesn't strike me as the type of guy who needs money, dude.
He's gonna go to the MLS, bro. New Jersey Red Bulls. He's gonna go play for you guys.
New York Red Bulls.
New York, sorry, but they play in New Jersey.
Anyway, Neil, anything else you wanted to add?
Very quickly, we spent a lot of time on this podcast criticizing Rui Vitória this season. I just want to say personally, I'm very happy with his performance. Not only did he manage to integrate Benfica youth into the main squad, we got 30 million in Champions League finally. Thank you very much. We're possibly going to win the Taça da Liga.
That's a plus.
And we're going to win the 3. And if all goes well, we're going to end up with 88 points, the most points in a long time.
Like ever?
I'm happy with this guy. He did more than he had a better season by Benfica than Jorge Jesus did in 6 seasons.
Yeah, we promised to dedicate a whole podcast, and I know that Cristiano definitely has his own opinions on him. I know that Mr. Steve Santos has his own opinions on Rui
Vitória. I might be
Vitória.
busy that day.
And we're going to dedicate a whole podcast talking about Rui Vitória and what he's done for Benfica this year, talking about every angle. But that's only going to come at the end of the season when it's all said and done and we could actually pass judgment on what the man has done. So only after the end of the season we'll be able to really do a podcast like that and get a full evaluation. But I'm with you. I think that one of the biggest pluses for Rui Vitória is been able to commit the team and the effort to a Champions League campaign, which we hadn't seen in quite some time in previous years. Obviously, you know, the priorities there were others. And I understand, but you know, fans like us from Benfica, we like to see Benfica in the European upper echelon. I know that Chris enjoys seeing Benfica up there with the biggest names. So that was it's in that aspect, Chris. It's quite a remarkable year for you, being able to see Benfica that far in the Champions League.
You know me. I could always argue the other side of anything. So I mean, I could make a case that he's done a tremendous job, and I can make a case that it's been all luck. I mean, the fact that he drew Zenit as opposed to drawing, big sharks. Had he drew a big shark, he would have been knocked out earlier. But he drew Zenit. It was a shittier team, and they were able to. Exactly. But that's what I'm saying. I can make the case here on and on and on. But the fact of the matter is that it's all irrelevant. Steve and I could come on this podcast or any other platform and criticize the guy all we want. We're going to make ourselves look bad because right now the numbers contradict anything we say. So therefore, tip my cap to Vitória. Win these last 2 games, and then I'll praise you. How's that?
Yeah. So I just and Pedro Oresta shares the same opinion as me. Just let's hold the foguetes.
Why? Who the hell threw foguetes?
No. We just we gotta keep our emotions in check.
Yeah, Pedro just said easy with the foguetes.
That's right.
What foguetes have we thrown?
Neil, I think Neil was.
I'm a little bit excited. I'm not gonna lie.
We're all excited, but we have to let this play out. Continue to support the team. Positive energy. Wear your dirty underwear, the ones you've been wearing all season on match day, to make sure we get the good luck. Get all those routines, lucky superstitions going to make sure that the team wins. Because right now, the way the team is, we need all the luck and all the the pushing that we can get from the outside forces
I
onto
see.
the field.
I see a nice relaxing win this weekend.
Yeah?
I just feel it. I feel it in my
3-0. Cristiano.
Já está.
Espetáculo.
I think this is the Cristiano. You know when you're up on the roller coaster, you going up.
This is as high as I've gone. Yeah, we can only go up from here, bro.
You get up there, you beat Maritimo all the way.
Sailing home. Easy.
Anyway,
Pra casa.
all right, Neil. Always a pleasure, my friend. At Fernandez Neil on Twitter. Neil, throw out your blog address, please.
As of late, I want to give a big shout out to Dave Pritchett and Meg from Planet Benfica, who let me occasionally write stuff on the Planet Benfica website. So I've been mostly writing with them, but I have a blog that I contribute to every now and then. It's on my Twitter account. So for those of you who follow me, the link is up there. And happy Mother's Day coming up to all the Benfica moms out there. When I was 14, my mom bought me a Benfica kit, and I still wear it sometimes.
That's nice.
Yeah, tell your boy Pedro, not Pedro, what's his name? David
David who?
Pritchett.
David Pritchett. Maybe we could bring David Pritchett on to when we talk about Rui Vitória.
He's a smart dude.
Because he's David Pritchett is a big defender of Rui Vitória.
Pritchett can't come on until he follows me back.
And he's a Portsmouth fan, which means he likes Ricardo Rocha.
Nope. Portsmouth's still even up and running. I thought they filed bankruptcy a couple of years ago. But whatever. Yeah, he can't come on a pod until he follows me back.
I'll let him know.
There you go. Next week we will hopefully have a very special guest in
Live
studio.
in person.
In this here studio.
Here's a problem.
Yeah.
I don't know if his head will fit in this room though.
Why, his head is that big or the studio is that small?
He said he's gonna be loud. So
He's
that's
gonna
what
be
I'm
loud?
saying. He's gonna be. I don't know if he's.
We
gonna
just
fit in the studio.
push the mics back a little bit.
I'm excited about that.
Yeah,
Excited,
we're
very
all
excited.
excited about our
possibilities.
next week and the possibility of having our
But
special
it'll be
guest.
all for naught if Benfica don't win this weekend. So they better do their job this week.
Hey, esperança é a última coisa a morrer. Even if we lose, we still got one game left. And until the fat lady sings, it's all good.
Guys,
Anyway,
9 months. 9 months after we win the 3, baby Neil's coming. That's all I know.
tá bom, pronto. planetbenfica.co.uk, at Benfica Podcast, at 10CO10 is where you can find us on Twitter, benficapodcast.com. Follow us on Twitter, iTunes, rate us, like us, you know the deal. Thank you very much for checking us out. Next week, we will be back. We'll break down the Maritimo game. We'll have our special guest, as we have mentioned, and we'll look ahead to the final game of the season, of the regular season, I should say. So we'll have a good one. Make sure you come back next week and check us out. Thank you very much. See everybody. Neil, always a pleasure, my friend.
Love you, Mario.
Thanks.
Talk
guys.
to you soon. Peggy, Steve Santos.
Hello.
See you. Bye. Bye.